Hi, this is Ben Llewellyn. Today I'm going to talk to you about things I love about the Welsh language. There are so many of them on offer. I'm just going to name a few for you. This log, or thing, trunk, washed up upon this rock pile is a work of art. Look at this. There are so many things that I love about the Welsh language, but the one that pops to mind first is the thing that inspired me to fall in love with Britain first, and that's the landscape. The British landscape formed the Welsh language in a way that you cannot say about English or Scottish Gaelic, because that came over from Ireland. And I've been in love with this island since as long as I can remember. I made a video about that, and this language comes from it. The forms of this language were formed by this land. It's beautiful because of that. The place names, I've mentioned this in more than one video, the place names are connected to the land in a way that you don't get in English or French, or it's unique in that way, and I have to start there. The contours of the language's shape reflect the land that gave birth to it, and I find this island so beautiful. And what could be more British than to speak Welsh? I love that. The sounds of this language are so unique. Let me just compare phonemes for a minute, and by that I mean the number of sounds in a language. So Welsh has 45 specific sounds. Standard RP Queen's English has 36. So that's 9 more total. To compare, German has 45, just as much as Welsh. French has 39 phonemes or sounds. French has a few more vowel sounds than English. And just to compare, Spanish has a lot fewer. I think it's 28 or 30. And so that's why Spanish is frankly very easy to learn. But Welsh has unique sounds that are, well, not entirely unique. They're found in languages across the globe. But you get the double L. And it's not quite an L, it's like an L, an S, and a sh sound fused together. And you find this in languages across the globe, but not many European ones. And Welsh is very unique in that. I really like the ch sound about Welsh. Llaeth is the word for milk. You get the ch sound and the ch. Chwith is left. Chwys is sweat, and that wys. You get vowel combinations. They're called diphthongs when two vowels come together to form a new sound. Welsh has loads of them. I think 5 more than English, if I remember right. Wy, gwy, and that gwa sound. How many can you think of in English? Gwa, penguin? No, that comes from Welsh and Cornish. Can you think of any native English words with that gwa sound. Gwynedd is a Welsh place name. Gwych, fantastic. Gwyn is white. And I love that gwa sound. It's in my actual last name, which I'm not here to tell you. One marked difference between Welsh and English that I find fascinating is that English does not differentiate between feather, the TH in feather, and the TH in pathway. Those are two completely different sounds. In Welsh we have two letters, TH and double D, and th. Those are completely different in Welsh. You can't even interchange them. They're different concepts, and we use them in very, very different ways around how letters change at the beginning of words, which carry on through different sounds across the language, which is, mutations are beautiful in Welsh. One thing that people are familiar with often in the Welsh language is the National Anthem, Henulad fy Nhadau, Old Country of My Fathers. And let me just explain what I love about it, because this is not a folk anthem. This is the anthem of a people praising their noble aristocratic lineage, a warrior caste of poets serving kings and princes. There's a noblesse, an oblige about the Welsh ancestry that I love. My henulad fy Nhadau yn anwyl I mi, glad berdd a chantorion, enwogion o fri, I gyrrol ryfelwyr, glad garwyr tramad, tros ryddid gwllasant I gwad. And you can see that there's not a clarity, there's an ambiguity there of who are these poets and singers. And then it jumps directly into they lost their blood for their country. And that's an echo, an advice of these warrior poets who fought for their lords and kings and were singing before them as they went into battle. That's beautiful. There's this memory of the poets were amongst the highest ranking nobility in the aristocratic class and the administrators of their country. And this tradition of warrior poets, I mean, that was lasting from the end of Rome easily to the 100 Years' War in the late 1400s even. That's remarkable. And you get poetry that just has no equal in English from this cast of warrior poets and the tradition that they spawned. I love that about Welsh. Tradition still resonant out of the very rocks of this country, in place names as well. Like Polynesian languages, in Welsh and other Celtic languages, the verb comes first. I like that you don't have to fuss about. You know the action's happening. Rydai sy'r traeth. Ran I to the beach. Rydai adra. Run I will home. You get to the action. It's concise, and I love conjugation in Welsh. Squeezing that verb into a tense rather than stringing out a whole sentence. And this carries on in different forms and pronouns as well. You can say, to a question of who went to the shop, you could say, she was going to the shop. Or you could get even so precise that English doesn't have anything to this, or French for that matter. He thought it was she and not any other who went to the shop. He thought. Aeth he, she went, or literally went she. There is something when spoken with eloquent conjugation of Welsh. When you squeeze the verbs together, it is so eloquent and efficient. You can say so much with so few syllables. People say that Welsh is somehow unintelligible, but it is an Indo-European language, and I love that because we are part of the biggest family of languages on earth, and interwoven into their verbs and vocabulary and history and greater Western civilization because of it. We share cognates or words from common roots with every Indo-European language: Romanian, Dutch, Lithuanian, Hindi, Bengali, Afrikaans. If you have Welsh, you can identify little jewels in each of these languages which have a similar root somewhere in Welsh. And it's like, there's a light bulb moment. We have that common seed binding us as a family with these other languages together. I like seeing the commonalities between Welsh and Ukrainian. That the word for oak, derwen, is related to the Ukrainian word for tree, dervo. That Romanian and Welsh share masculine and feminine number systems. And that's another thing, the masculine and femininity of Welsh adds an element that you can adorn things in ways that is not possible in a non-gendered language like English or Hungarian. I like that we have feminine forms of words across the entire language's history. Many lost, but some regained and used again. And that you add an ES at the end and it becomes a woman. You add a YN at the end and it becomes small and male. You can twist the language around this concept of gender, and in a way I suppose Spanish can too. All of the Romance languages, all of Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, German, they can too, I suppose. Back to that Indo-European root. But one thing that sets Welsh apart from any Indo-European language that I have come across, or any language for that matter, is there are so many ways to form plurals or non-single things. Birds is adar, but a one bird, a derin. The plural is often shorter in Welsh, not like in English and French where you just add an S or an X like in French, or in Hungarian and Basque where you tend to add a K or an AK at the end of a word to form a plural. Welsh often changes the middle of a word. Gwasg for a printing press becomes gweisg. Gwas for a servant becomes gweision, servants. And moroedd is C's, but mor is one C. Small things add I to the end. Tavleni, pamphlets. Buledi, bullets. There are inflections of varying kinds, and maybe I'll make a video on plurals for you if you'd like. I think I will because I'm passionate about it. As you see, there are so many things about Welsh that I love, and those are just a few of them. The sun's going down now beyond Ynys Môn. Have a look.